Hey everyone, I was about due for a Pocher Ferrari update. Let's start with the F40. If you see here, we have a lot of progress. This is pretty much a complete rolling chassis at this point. So here's some things that I've done. First up is the seats. If you remember, I had to wrap it in this like stocking material, and I was finding it quite challenging to get crisp lines, but I think I got a pretty good result. The trick was I was more liberal with the spraying of the Super 90, the 3M product, onto a Q-tip and really spreading it over not just the seams but really all the surface area, and that helped. I put in the upgraded fabric seat belts. I flocked the entire interior that I'm supposed to. Here's the gray, which came out nice. There's the flocked center console. The dash is obviously not there because that goes on the body. Next up, I did the carbon Kevlar stickers or decals, which were quite challenging. Wherever the seams would meet up, I found it kind of difficult. And then I had to simulate the kind of seam filler, the bonding adhesive, which came out pretty convincing. It's a mix of like turquoise paint and white Elmer's glue. It's also shown in this center tub. The only challenge really with the carbon Kevlar is I sprayed a Tamiya matte clear coat on it, and it did bubble it up oddly in some small areas. See those little pimples? It is what it is. My hope is that the F40 itself doesn't exactly have perfect build quality. Maybe it's not flawless, so maybe mine's a little more accurate now anyway. I did upgrade the pedals. Kind of hard to make out, but yeah, they're the upgraded pedals. Pretty convincing. I tried to simulate the fluid bottles, so it's very hard to tell, but I mixed up a light bluish green to simulate that there's some fluid in the bottle. There are all the brake lines from the master cylinder and whatnot. I think this, it's not perfect, but I think it came out pretty good. So again, I did sand the tires down to make them look a little more realistic on the tire treads. Engine, not perfect, because I was missing a lot of pieces from the trans kit, so I had to make up a lot of the feed. I didn't have the feed lines for all these oil feed lines, so the initial fittings weren't there, so I kind of just had to drill directly into turbos, things like that. And I mixed up a color for the exhaust pipes that, they're not shiny the second you start that engine. Probably even when they build the car, they're not like, perfect stainless steel. They kind of have a warmer tone to it. So I mixed that up. That shiny exhaust cover, I actually had to make that from scratch because I was missing that part, so I just took some thin sheet aluminum and cut that out. Came out pretty good. And again, I'm missing all the mounting hardware for these oil coolers. Maybe one's a transmission cooler, I don't know, but yeah, I was missing really all the fittings, so I kind of had to freestyle that a little bit. It's definitely more convincing than the standard Pocher stuff, which is all just a black hose. So now it's onto the body, which is gonna get restored. I have a friend who does paint correction and on very high-end cars, and so he'll kind of take the body from there. So that's the F40. Next we've got the Testarossa, which change of plans. I decided to build it and sell it. I mean, I owned this car before, this Pocher Testarossa, and I don't feel a need to have it back in my collection. Those who pay attention to the channel know I'm funding a large down payment, hopefully, for my Cadillac Blackwing, so I'd rather just sell it. So I've made pretty big progress with that. Here's the engine. I'm building this probably 89% box stock. I'm not detailing it out. I'm not going crazy. On the engine, I have these upgraded little intake manifold metal plenum covers and a little upgrade piece there. I don't even know what this is called. The interior, again, box stock. The only issue I had was these are decals, and I mean, they're 35 years old. So I actually cut them out so they still have a paper backing, and then glued them on. So they're actually a little bit more 3D, which I think is more convincing anyway. Center console. I did have an extra upgraded gated shifter mechanism, so I used that. I did use the existing shift knob because it has the molded pattern in it. I think that's a little more convincing than just a smooth metal ball. Again, nothing crazy, pretty much box stock. Came out fine. The body, ignore all these fingerprints, I'll polish it up when it's done. The body, the big challenge is always the door fitment. I'm going to fine tune that maybe with some spacers. I did have upgraded metal brakes, both rotors and calipers. Front's coming out pretty good. And the hood fitment on these is always poor too. I'm going to see what I can do about that. On the back, you know, they had this kind of silly decal really for the mesh on the back of the car, and in two pieces, which is not accurate. So, believe it or not, the F40 box actually had Testarossa scale mesh as an upgrade, so I painted it flat black, and it's far more convincing. So it's real proper open mesh, not a decal. Only problem is I broke with my Hulk strength that rear tail light, so I should have another one on the way. Should be finished pretty quickly. I mean, I'd say this is mostly done. Like I said, come out pretty good. I'm going to wind up putting it on eBay if anyone's interested. Wheels and tires are going to be built box stock too, except I'll sand the tire tread all over again. For the exhaust, I've got the upgrade exhaust tips. So there's probably $100 or so in upgrades in this. Nothing crazy, certainly not like the F40. So that's almost the last update. I think we'll do one more when I obviously finish the Testarossa, and maybe one more when the F40 has a body on it. So that's it for this week. Everyone, please like and subscribe. Have a good one.